This morning with Deputy Editor of The Express, Michael Booker, and the historian, Kate Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you both.
Good to see you.
Michael, we'll start with you, should we? The Mirror is looking at Lord McAlpine.
Yeah, they've got, I think, one of the first pictures of him since this started to break on Twitter more than anything a couple of weeks ago. And it's just unimaginable what he's been through the last couple of weeks, really. I mean, there's been this whispering campaign for years, it seems, that most people didn't know about. Now, you know, since Twitter started naming him a couple of weeks, it seems to have spread. Yesterday, he had to come out with this statement. And, you know, it's been a bad couple of weeks, bad month or so for the BBC, but it must be terrible, you know, for someone like this man to go through what he's going. And you just get the impression that the more this goes on, what's it going to take? Is someone's suicide for all this to stop? It just, because it's people's real lives. And there was a lot of tears shedding on social networks last night for Newsnight. Oh no, Newsnight might have to close down. It's a TV show. People will get jobs. People will move on. But people who have their lives ruined like this sort of thing, they can't move on.
But I mean, to me, though, I mean, I think it is serious what's happened, but I think the problem is that if there'd been a full and proper inquiry in 1996 after this first Waterhouse inquiry, if the police said, OK, clearly there's been some further abuse, let's investigate it, let's not leave it where it is. The problem is that they didn't. And so now lots of people think there's a cover-up. And unfortunately, the more these things go on, the more 16 years, and people go, oh, well, you know, clearly there's been a cover-up. And, you know, what happens is that people don't feel there's any justice in the government or in the police. So it seems like people just take to Twitter.
But it does highlight that, as we heard the Prime Minister talking about on ITV over all that kerfuffle earlier on in the week, there is a danger with social media, isn't there, that these rumours spread and people believe it.
These rumours do spread, and I think people do obviously now look more and more towards Twitter. Throughout the super injunctions, people are looking on Twitter to who that was, and people look on Twitter now for news. But I do seriously think that if there had been a proper investigation, there's been lots of time, lots of chance for anyone to order investigation into what had actually happened to these young boys, because a lot of them now have died, and, you know, memories change. And if they'd done that at the time, we wouldn't have this situation now, in which either a big inquiry has to happen now. We have to have a proper police investigation, otherwise this is going to keep going on.
Well, just to say, Lord McAlpine is going to take legal action, so perhaps that will make people think twice before spreading rumours on Twitter.
Let's have a quick look at the Times, should we? And Michelle Obama. I mean, it describes her as a force of nature. She certainly is.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a battle of the wives throughout this whole campaign, and she has been the winner. And I think Michelle Obama is incredibly popular in the US. She's popular with the Democrats. The Republicans say, you know, a kind of grudging popularity. And she has that warmth that sometimes Obama doesn't have. And you know, the family pictures, the end of it, you know, they were kind of, it's funny how they were really just so portrayed as the perfect American family. And, you know, we know that the Republicans are doing a bit of soul searching, that they failed, that they feel that, you know, they really lost a huge amount of voters, particularly among the young, women, ethnic minorities. And, you know, Michelle has won successfully. So they say Hillary is aiming for the White House in 2016. What about Michelle after that?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Lovely stuff. Stay with us. Lots more coming up for you in just a moment. So looking through the papers this morning with Kate and with Michael. Michael, to the Daily Star, no beer for the heroes who lost 16 pals. This is, on the face of it, really shocking, actually.
Well, it is. Just before Remembrance Sunday, it's a pub, to coin a phrase, who've shot themselves in the foot. This is the Bull in Romford, which doesn't sound that... It looks just like any Comedy Garden pub on any street in England. There had been a parade, 600 strong battle-weary unit, it says in the Star, 1st Battalion, the Royal Anglians. 16 men killed in Afghanistan. They'd got the freedom of the town as well. They'd been marching through the streets. They decided, well, after all that ceremony, let's go for a drink. They went to the Bull. They were told, sorry, we don't serve squaddies in here. One of the squaddies' family tried to buy a drink for them. They said, sorry, see what you're doing, you can't buy a drink for them. Sorry, we'll have to leave. So it's all very embarrassing. I'm sure there is rules and regulations about, you know, I'm sure what it is.
What is the reason, though?
I think, well, I presume it's because, you know, it's a city centre pub. It's men of a certain age, and you may as well ban all 16 to 40-year-old men, but is basically what they're saying is there could be trouble. I presume is what the problem. They're worried about fighting, things like that, but I think these guys, they just want to have a nice drink after being rightly seen as heroes going through the streets of Romford. So I think there is some over-officiousness going on. For what they're saying now, they're saying it's wrong what's happened. The spokesman for the pub said they had been banned, but it was just a bit of a mistake, really, and on this occasion we should have let them in. But there is these rules and regulations, and they do make themselves look silly sometimes.
Well, a bit of backtracking is never a bad thing. The Independent also looking at soldiers, Kate.
Yes, another story. Remember on Sunday this question that the Supreme Court is ready to suggest that do soldiers have a right to life when they go to war? And this is particularly significant on the question, can they sue the army if their equipment isn't up to scratch, if they die of heat stroke? So this is quite a significant question. It's all about a Private Hewitt who was killed by a roadside bomb in 2005, and his mother is saying that the Ministry of Defence failed to protect him properly, and she is, she's hearing the case, and she's been tenacious ever since 2005 that the soldiers demand further protection than they're getting.
It's a very difficult subject, isn't it? And so some further clarification on that may be welcomed by a lot of people. To the Express, Michael, it's been a perennial question, hasn't it? Why is one of the most gorgeous men on the silver screen not married?
Well, according to his sister, it's just because he decided he wants his career, puts his career first. And, it's by the by, really. What I wanted to really point out was the picture. And people have been saying that his sister, which is pictured there, Adelia Ziegler, she's 50-odd-year-old. Now, people are saying that she doesn't look quite like George Clooney, but around the face, she's very... I think she's a bit of a ringer for George Clooney there. I don't know what everyone else thinks on this one.
Sort of spot it. You wouldn't put them as being 1 year apart.
Well, no, you
let's be
wouldn't.
honest.
But no, she's a bookkeeper. She's not a Hollywood icon, which he is. So I imagine he spends a few quid in certain areas that she doesn't. But no, she's denying that he's gay. Absolutely ridiculous. Nothing to see here.
Very briefly, two people who are very happy to be gay, Elton John and David Furnish, who watch Sunrise. I know, because I met David once. Morning to you, gents, if you're watching this morning.
Well, they'll be watching it with a new baby. They will be... And the minute they get a new baby, they'll be up there with Sunrise. So this is a really great story that Sir Elton John apparently has got a second baby on the way. The surrogate is a few months pregnant, so the baby is going to arrive when Zachary is just 2. So it's going to be 2 little ones for Elton and David. And
that'll keep them busy.
It'll keep them busy. Exactly. Nappies, milk, they'll be busy at it.
Getting someone else to do the nappies, if there's any sense. Michael, Kate, thank you very much indeed. See you in an hour. Let's get a check on the weather with Naz.